Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this July 5th, 2024. Thank you for tuning in. Look at these bond market right here. I'm going to tell you guys what. Every time I see the bonds starting to creep up really big time, I can see them knock back down again. The timing is what's getting me. That's why I think that I don't know how they're doing it. Maybe they're using third party, fourth party, fifth party down the line. But I think that they're monetizing the debt. Direct monetization. This is a last-ditch effort before the currency starts to lose value at an alarming rate. Moving on, we're going to talk about Biden a little bit. Bidenomics we're going to talk about here. It says man sparks internet outrage after paying $9.35 for a Diet Coke. What are you getting? I'm going to tell you what. Going back into about the 1800s and stuff, you had $9.35. You're quite wealthy. Most people didn't have that much money saved up, but what you could buy with $9.35. Back in those days, you could probably buy 40 acres. Or you could maybe buy 2 horses and a carriage. You know? Now, you get 8 ounces of water that's flavored with chemicals. For your $9.35. That's basically what you're buying. It's water. It's water that they've put chemical additives in to make it taste enhancement. And those chemicals probably are really not very good for you. But it's mostly water. $9.35. What is this thing about Diet Coke? Why does everybody like Diet Coke so much? I don't understand it. They actually prefer it over the sugar Coke. I just don't understand it myself. Maybe it's the caffeine in it. I just don't know. I never did like the taste of Diet Coke. If I wanted a Coke, I'd get a real Coke. That tastes pretty good, you know. But the Diet Coke, ooh, you know, that's the way I know a lot of people love it, though. I do know a lot of people love it. Now, Biden, you know, that's Bidenomics, what it's done to our prices and stuff. And now Biden's telling Democratic governors he needs more sleep. And he's not going to plan any events after 8 p.m. 8 p.m. There's 2 things about really elderly people that you know and notice. One is they like, if it's not extremely hot. You know, in the 90s, they're perfectly good with that. They love that. They love warm weather. They love hot weather. They can't stand the cold. Really old people, you know, and they have to get in bed before 8 p.m. But this is how the things are going. Taking a look here, what are they going to do right now? They're running around in a tizzy, running around in a tizzy. Don't know who they're going to put in there, or don't know if Biden's is he going to stick to it, or is he going to drop out, or who are they going to put in if he does drop out? Well, they're betting on Kamala Harris, but I'm going to tell you what about Harris. The war chest of money, I guess, that they've all collected, they can keep going with that if they go with Harris, from what I understand. What's her possibilities of winning? Well, probably not a whole lot different than Biden's. Maybe Biden might have actually a better chance, but I just don't know. But probably, she's in the same administration. It's a Biden-Harris administration right now. And it's the same administration. An awful lot of voters out there, I'm going to tell you what, they're looking for change. They don't like the economy. They don't like prices are going up and everything else. And a lot of them are looking for change. Looking for a little change, you know. And Harris is part of the same administration. Now, so those particular voters that are looking for a change, will they see Harris as being a change? Probably not. We want to get serious, but probably not. But now, who could? Well, there's other runners out there. I've heard there's like the governor of California, and there's a whole host of them out there. But there's also Michelle Obama. And I'm going to tell you what, she has a lot of charisma, but I don't think she's going to run. It says why she won't replace Biden. It says recent poll suggested that many voters would support a presidency run by former First Lady Michelle Obama, even though she has repeatedly shot down the idea of a run. This was after the disastrous debate performance. It says the wife of the former president, Barack Obama, was the only Democratic to poll higher than former President Donald Trump in a hypothetical November matchup. I can believe it because she has an awful lot of charisma. She got a big smile on her face all the time, and people like that, and they see happy and that charisma, that charismatic outlook and everything. I'm thinking that, yeah, but I don't think so because I think they're already starting to form plans of going with Kamala Harris. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But I think that if Joe Biden goes out, I think they're making plans on Kamala Harris. I think that's what's going on right now. But will Biden hang in there? I just don't know. I know about the golf cart thing with Trump saying that what he said, and the whole golf cart issue and everything else. So we got that going on. Now over in the Ukraine right now, the Ukrainian army is retreating from their positions as Russia gets closer to seizing strategically important towns. Basically, they're turning the towns into rubble. Heavily damaged buildings amid Russia's attack on Ukraine, the frontline town of Chasiv Yar. Probably never heard of it, but it's a strategically important distance. It's a city that's just a short distance from west of Bakhmut, and was captured by Russia last year. 10-month battle. But the thing about it is this city, it says its fall would put nearby cities in jeopardy, compromising critical Ukrainian supply routes, and bring Russia closer to its stated aim of seizing the entire Donetsk region. So there you go. This is where the assault is right now. Now, just about, I guess it was about a week ago or so, there was a big attack with ATACMS by the Ukrainians on a beach in Crimea. Russia was very angry about it. It didn't make much press over here in the West. Most people don't know about that. But I'm thinking to myself, because of what's happened since then till now, I'm thinking that a bird must have whispered in Ukraine's ear and said, hey, you know what? Be careful. Could start World War III, And so I noticed, now I'm just speculating about all that, but I'm thinking that they backed off a little bit with their use of these long-range missiles inside Russia. I think they backed off a little bit right now. And so this is why we've been seeing this little lull in that kind of escalatory pattern that we saw happening. I think they backed off, and I don't know if they had a whisper in their ear or what. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that they seem to have, for the last number of days, ever since that Crimean attack, they seem to have backed off with the long-range missiles and stuff deep inside Russia and attacks deep inside Russia. I haven't heard any news on that. So I'm thinking maybe, hey, maybe that settled down just a little bit. Because, hey, all during the Cold War, we knew around the world here, we knew that two superpowers coming to loggerhorns against one another is a no-go. It's a no-fly zone. You don't go there. And through this kind of mission creep and stuff that we've been happening over the last 6 months or so, we've been moving toward that direction rather rapidly toward a clash of superpowers, Russia and the United States. Two of the biggest holders, the two biggest holders, bar none, of nuclear weapons. And the biggest holder of all is Russia. You know? And now, it seems like it's cooled off just a little bit in the last week or so. Will it heat back up again? Because this is a very dangerous circumstance, more dangerous than what was going on during the Cuban Missile Crisis, for triggering a World War III. So I'm happy, for one, to see it cool down just a little bit, but I'm going to speculate, and I'm going to say something happened that the Ukrainians are scaling back just a little bit on that specific thing of attacking inside Russia with long-range weapons. I'm thinking, hey, you know, they've scaled back a little bit on that for the moment. Maybe they'll increase it again later. I'd be awful glad when this war's over. It'd just be a sigh of relief, because this is like a trigger. This war is like a trigger for a superpower clash. This particular war in Ukraine. And another war that could trigger a superpower clash is if the war in the Middle East were to expand out and it were to get Iran involved, which almost happened a few weeks ago when Iran attacked Israel with all those drones that night. I forget how many drones it was. Was it 300 or 3,000? It was a massive amount of drones that they attacked with, you know. Now, silver today is 31.09. It's up 88 cents. No, actually 31.25. 31.25 today, and climbing. Well, it's 31.37 in the next update here. So it's heading for that high water mark. Bitcoin was heading for the high water mark, backed off a couple times, and now Bitcoin ain't looking good. But Bitcoin's not gold and silver. Never forget that. Bitcoin is not gold and silver. And, you know, I've been on this channel a long time, you know, and when it comes to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, I've only been telling you guys one thing, really, over and over and over again. If you're determined to buy cryptocurrencies, and it is a good idea to have a little bit, I think, but always buy as close as you can to the main cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Don't go. I know there's all these altcoins. There's like 2,000 of them or something. You look at Bitcoin as the main stump on the tree, a giant tree. It's like an oak tree, and Bitcoin is the stump. And all these other altcoins are the limbs and branches that come off of that stump. Well, say coin number 997. It's way out there in the end of the branch. In fact, it's a little tiny twig, and maybe it's getting ready to fall off. You go out there and put all your money in that. You know, stick with the stump. Close, in other words, Bitcoin or something that's in the top 10 or whatever, you know. And, you know, I'll tell you, this stuff, I have an awful lot more faith in gold and silver here than I do in the cryptos. Because this stuff's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's already got a network around the world. You guys know what? Say you were traveling. Say you were going to head to, I don't know, halfway around the world. Maybe Asia or gosh knows where you're going, right? And you fly out there and you got a couple gold rings on your fingers, you know, but you got your wallet and everything else. You got your passport and your papers and everything else. You leave them back at the hotel. You come back to the hotel and somebody has stolen, because they can sell those passports and stuff, you know, in the black markets and stuff. So they stole everything you got. They've stole all your credit cards. They've stole your paper because you left it back at the hotel. You know? But you took your ring with you, because you never take your ring off. The network is there where you could, if you don't have any travel or flight insurance, most people do have travel and flight insurance nowadays, but some people don't. Or for one reason or another, maybe it doesn't work. But the thing is that ring could afford you some money in that country, because all around the world, it doesn't matter what country you're in, they know what gold and silver is. There's not a place you can go where they don't know. But now when it comes to Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, it's difficult to find a place that actually knows what it is and is willing to take it, unless you go to the right places. You know, I mean, that network has really never been fully established. I mean, there is places to go where I know where you can spend Bitcoin in foreign countries and stuff like that, you know. But it's a more difficult thing to unload, because the network is not nearly as established as the network for selling gold and silver around the world. And that's because the network's been established over thousands of years. It's actually amazing that the cryptocurrency network around the world is as big as it is, and that many people do know about it, considering, and that's down to the fact that they've mismanaged the dollar. Because Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies would have never got the leg up that they've got up if it hadn't have been for this mismanagement and this Ponzi scheme that surrounds the fiat currencies. And that's going to come to a close. And that's what we're really talking about. It's probably causing all of these geopolitical problems all around the world right now are probably being caused by this enormous Ponzi scheme that was started and now is coming to its final conclusion. It's somehow probably connected. Now, 31.25 for silver today. I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff's getting ready to take a massive leap up in price. And it'll probably never come back down again. But then again, on the other hand, you know, when the price starts to go really high, the miners start to work even more intensively. Price goes up on copper. Copper is one of the things that's related to silver here. And you say how? Is because an awful lot of things like copper mines, the byproduct is silver. And so if the price of copper goes up, the price of nickel, the price of lead, the price of tin, the price of all those metals goes up, they're doing more mining, they're going to get more silver from the byproduct of these mines. But at any rate, still, they're going to dig in the part of the mine where they're going to get the most amount of metals. This is just the way it is. And those areas are getting depleted around the world for every different kind of metal. And there's a limited amount of just like there's a limited amount of oil that's in the ground, and once they pump it all out, it's gone. And that's what they did in these wells like West Texas and stuff. You know, when they first went in, the crude used to bubble up out of the ground. In fact, it would come out in a gusher. They sucked it all out. Now, in order to get it, they got to do something called fracking, where they have to go down with high pressure and stuff, and basically it's scraping it off of the rocks, what's left down in there. It's like squeezing out the sponge, you know. Anyway, gold today. See if we can get rid of this. It's locked my whole thing up. This skylit thing. It's locked up my whole production. I click on the X button, nothing's happening. I'll click on the next page. We'll go to Bitcoin. So we have to wait on the gold price because of some advertisement, because there's a bunch of greedy people out there who just want more money. Bitcoin today is at 56,500. So it's suffering. Well, here, something to do with Mt. Gox or something happening. But it's 56,000. And yeah, now that we've knocked down to 56,000, I'm thinking we could see a bounce back somewhat after this is done. I think what did I read? Was it Mt. Gox is refunding or something like that? I can't remember exactly, but I think that's what's affecting the price right now. Some sort of a limited thing, and then Bitcoin's been through so many of those, especially with Mt. Gox. Stuff with Mt. Gox. I remember Mt. Gox crashes way back when in the day. Anyway, Bitcoin's 56,500. Ethereum today is at 29.83, and taking a look at XRP's at 42 cents. So XRP's not the 50-cent coin anymore. It's a 42-cent coin. I imagine it's Bitcoin and the cryptos. I imagine XRP is going to bounce back, and Bitcoin's probably going to bounce back up too. I'm thinking pretty soon here. Now, the stock price today, one of the reasons why I'm saying I think Bitcoin stuff's going to bounce back is when you get right down to the nitty gritty of it, the dollar's not getting better. It's sick. There's a sickness affecting the dollar. It's called a Ponzi scheme. And we're in the last critical phase of that Ponzi scheme where it's going vertical. It's like a hockey stick. It's called an exponential function. And the chances of the dollar getting better from this sickness is about the chances of an old person that's got dementia getting better. You know, I mean, it ain't going to happen. It's a disease that's progressive. And what's causing it's their old age. And as they get older, they're going to get worse. And that's the way with this Ponzi scheme with the dollar. We've lost 98% of its purchasing power since this Ponzi scheme was started. And you only got like 2% left. And man, with these budgets that are running like 1.4 trillion per year over budget, how long do you think it's going to take for them to chew up that and the last 2% is going to go fast. It's called hyperinflation, guys. You're just on the front edge of a hyperinflation. And we've already seen the damage it can do to your paycheck and to your purchasing power, and how costs continue to rise. And in the end, everybody's going to hit that moment. The low-income earners have already hit it. The moment where they say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills? That moment is going to be hitting the next tier up. The higher income earners soon. And then the tier above them. It's even going to be hitting working professionals and things like doctors and lawyers before it's done. That's what a hyperinflation will do. It doesn't matter how much you earn. I don't care if you earn $5 million a year. It'll hit you too, where you're not able to pay your bills because prices can go so high on everything. Because they're just printing, they're spending like drunken sailors out there. And they really want inflation. It's a hidden tax. It's robbing you of your wealth. And it's going to rob everybody of your wealth, except for the exceptional few. The few that are in the ivory tower looking down on all of us with a big smile on their face because they're invested in things like gold. It's an enormous racket. The Ponzi schemes have always been rackets. And the dollar Ponzi scheme is nothing different. Taking a look at the bonds and rates today, we're seeing fall in yields. 10-year fell 6.1 basis points to 4.28. This is another enormous racket. Treasury markets, they're enormous racket. U.S. 30-year 4.48's dropped 3.8 basis points. Day of reckoning's approaching really fast. And what do I mean by that is we're heading head first right now, and we're on the front side of it, but we're heading head first into a hyperinflationary depression. And it ain't going to be pretty. I think at some certain point it's going to get so bad that the people just won't take it anymore. They won't take that guff anymore. And what'll happen then, I don't exactly know. But it ain't going to be pretty, whatever it is. 104.95 on the dollar index today. Oh, we got to take a look at did we do stocks? The Dow is 39,308, and the S&P 500 is at 5,554, and it's going up. Yeah, I think we did do the stocks, yeah. Anyway. I get on a tear like that, my mind gets on a one-way track. When I'm talking like that, about something that I'm incensed about. I'm incensed that we can actually accept these rackets that they shove down our throat, and we actually not only accept them, we think that it's normal. The way we're living in a Ponzi scheme that enriches the very few and impoverish us all the rest. It just incenses me, the fact that we can be have such acceptance of such a blatant racket, such a blatant corruption, such criminal activity, that we think it's normal because we grow up under it, because it's a long-term scheme. And we never get to the root of it. We never find out who started it and how to stop it. And so, because we always look to an outside source to solve our problems for us, well, they give us the racket. It's like the old saying about putting the fox in charge of the hen house, or letting the most crooked kid in the street be the banker in Monopoly. What do you think's going to happen to you? You know? Yeah, guys, thank you for listening to my show. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.